Fling and Puterbaugh suggest that the best way to manage Marabou is to wet it. So I'll be doing that as I tie Marabou onto this number 6 3x long streamer hook to create a basic Marabou streamer. They also recommend number 12 brass wire. I don't have any number 12 brass wire. I do have 3mm light gold is what it says on the spool. I've been using this wire for copper wire, copper ribbing. The body of this streamer is just the wrapped wire, and in keeping with the principles of Fling and Puterbaugh in their book, The Basic Manual of Fly Tying, knowing where to substitute, how to substitute, or at least being brave enough to substitute, I am substituting this wire for their recommended wire. So I'm putting down the wire, touching wraps. As I go along, I'll just squish it together. Kind of knot it up at the end there. Take it down around, just around the start of the bend, and wrap it all the way up the shank to right behind the eye. It doesn't have to be right behind the eye because there's going to be a head wrapped in. Try to keep those laying next to each other. That's probably good. If I just put my nail right against the edge of that wire, I can wiggle it off. The only thing holding the wire in is going to be the black thread just up here behind the eye. I'm going to wrap it up over the wire end there and just do a good wrap in there so that the wire doesn't pull off from the back end. Take care of that tag. So I have taken a clump of white Marabou. Now the recommendation also is white under black, although any light Marabou over a dark under a dark Marabou will work. So a clump of Marabou that I've wet, and I'm going to measure about a hook shank and a half, and tie that in. Again, if I keep that wet, it tends to behave itself a little bit better. Then I'm going to take all this excess and I'm going to use the bend on the hook eye as my guide and trim that off at an angle. I then have a clump of black Marabou that is going to be the top or overwing. It's a little bit shorter than the underwing, and again tied in the same place. Looks like about an eye length behind the eye. And I'm going to clip that extra out also at that angle. And then the head on this streamer is the wrapped thread. So I'm just going to take and wrap those butt ends of the Marabou that I've left here and create a nice tapered head. Try to wrap all that Marabou in, although it's not real critical because I am going to resin this head. I do want to turn my fly upside down. See on the bottom backside here, you can see where I've got a lot of that white Marabou that's still showing. So by turning my hook upside down, I can see the backside. It's interesting how the backside often tends to look different than the front. So I like to turn my hook over and look at it from the back as well as the front. Try to get good coverage on the wrap for this head. Alright, well, I can just leave it right there, I guess, and do my whip finish. There really is no debate, as far as I can tell, about whether the fish really care if there are eyes on the head. Fling and Puterbaugh suggests, though, that while it may not make a difference to the fish, it may make a difference to the fisherman, or if not the fisherman, to the fly tyer. So I am going to paint in eyes. I am, again, doing kind of a substitute here. It's because it's what I have. If you have white resin, that would probably be ideal, but I have this long plastic needle. It looks like it's probably used for wool crewel work. And I have some white latex paint. And that one kind of got weird. That's all right. I don't know if I can kind of clean that end off of there a little bit. There we go. All right. So we're going to just let that dry. And in good Martha Stewart fashion, where she puts her unbaked cake in the oven and immediately has it all ready and done, I too have a fly streamer, Marabou streamer, that's already got those spots, paint spots dry. Take a Sharpie marker and put a dot. Put a dot in the middle of each of those eyes. And then head cement. I'm actually using some thin UV resin, and I will coat the entire head with that. Harden that off. and a Fling and Puterbaugh simple Marabou streamer.